Once again, it's on. You are with the Black Comic Lords, and we have yet another in our series of the Black Comic Creator interview series. We've been doing this for the last few months because it's important. You know, the Black Comic Lords is not just about uplifting and promoting and throwing shine on these Black comic characters and books, but Black comic creators that toil every day trying to bring the books on these funny pages that you and I enjoy every single day. So we have a very special guest today, a Mr. Lonzo Starr, who's with Konkret Comics, a Black independent owned, Black creators that started their own company and putting out dope comics. And it's real important that we throw some shot on them and give them an opportunity to have you guys meet them and see what they're doing. And hopefully you can support. So with that, I'd like to introduce you all to Mr. Lonzo Starr.
Yo, what's going on, man?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Doing good. I'm very happy to be here, man. That was a dope intro. I love the beat, love the music. Everything was cool.
Well, you're you do music, right? You do. That's like one of your things. So
Yes, sir.
that is high praise from someone who's actually in the music industry. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. Definitely, thanks for having me.
Oh man, it's a blessing and a pleasure and an honor to have you here with us. So, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself? How did you get into comics? What's your background in that?
So my name is Derek Lonzo Starr Allen. I'm the CEO and founder of Konkret Comics, the writer creator of the legendary Acolyte, well, the award-winning Acolyte. I mean, I gotta start saying that now, right? Yeah, I've been in the comics.
Don't gloss. Wait, bro. Don't gloss on that, man. Don't gloss over that. Yeah. You got 2 Glyph awards, right?
Yep, 2 Konkret Comics. We got 2 Glyph awards. In 2021, we were nominated for 11. Didn't win none. 2022, we won 2 of them. So I mean, we won one for The Watchmen by written and created by Lyle Ringgold, and one for me for Acolyte. So yeah, it's been dope. It was definitely a surprise because it was some crazy competition in there. So
yeah. So respect on that. So tell us how did you start Konkret?
So Konkret Comics started in 2017. We became an actual company in the tail end of 2019. But yeah, it actually started, man. I had a song called Clark Kent that I was promoting. This was in around like 2016, and I'm just trying to do my best at promoting my music. I figured, why not try to go to like the comic shops or go somewhere? And I realized here in Philly there was a Comic-Con that was going on like the very day I was out there promoting. So I called a couple of my boys. We went to a Comic-Con. I've never been to a Comic-Con. But when I went there, just all my love for comics came rushing at me, hit me in the face, and I immediately.
You said came back. When did you first get into comics?
So my dad he's always had me into just that type of entertainment. He raised me as a Star Wars baby, Star Wars.
I can identify with that.
And I was heavy into martial arts films, the Bruce Lees, and
I can identify with that too.
It was actually my mom was the one that bought me my first comic. I don't think she knew what she was buying, but it was back when you could get comics at the supermarket right on the little aisle, and she would just grab me a comic and tell me to read it. But the first comic she got me was the Max, Evil Ernie, and Spawn. I don't think she knew what she was getting me. I don't think she understood what she got me at that age. But that was my gateway into comics. But the one I first really loved that my uncle bought me was an Incredible Hulk. I don't know the number, but it was like Incredible Hulk was the first one I saw of like Marvel, and that wasn't demented and you know what I'm saying, sick and twisted like that. So yeah, man, I've been in the comics for a long time, probably since the age of about 6 or 7. Comics is really what made me like reading. I didn't really like reading back then, but comics, it was something exciting, something that kept my attention. So shout out to comics, man. It really helped me out in school and everything.
And you said you went to this con. You were trying to promote some music that you were doing, and it somehow inspired you to create Konkret. How did that happen?
Well, Concrete was already a music label, a music
Okay.
company. But I think subconsciously in my songs, I always had a lot of references to comics and stuff that I loved in my songs. Like the song I was promoting was called Clark Kent. And the way the song was more so about how women are usually looking for their Superman, but they never notice Clark Kent is right next to them.
Right.
So I was talking from that perspective, and that's kind of how I, being at that Comic Con, brought my love back for the genre of comics, because I got lost in my teenage years and stuff. I was out here playing basketball and doing things like that, but I fell in love with it again. But it wasn't until I saw there was an independent comic called Dark Eagle, and
Yeah.
my friend had shared it to me on he shared it to me on Facebook. It was like an animation. So I reached out to the guy. I said, "Hey, do you need a theme song for your clip?" He at first said no. I said, "Listen, I'm not charging you. I just want to do it." So after hounding him, what I'm saying, because for everybody listening, if you're new to the genre, don't take no for an answer. You know what I'm saying? Go after what you want. So I didn't take no for an answer. I told him I really just wanted to make this song for you. And what that did though, when I had to learn about his character, he sent me the script. So when I read the script, that's when I realized how similar writing a song was to writing a comic book. And that's when I was like, yo, I could make a comic book. If this is how it's structured, then I know how to do it. And that's when Acolyte, somebody I've been probably dreaming about my whole life, he came about, and I started working on him. So yeah, 2017 was what led to that, and then the Black Panther movie came out 2018. I think that was a whole nother inspiration, there. And yeah, man, it got real. What's going on? What's going on, Mr. Latif?
Who were your favorite comic book characters when you were younger? Your very favorite ones?
Silver Surfer, Gambit, and probably I'll probably say Superman. Superman. But yeah, I always liked Gambit because he was just smooth, man. Had the coat, had the cards, he had a nice lady. Um, he was just smooth. And as far as Silver Surfer, I'm a Star Wars baby,
Right.
so ain't nothing cooler than a guy on a surfboard just floating through the cosmos, man. Yeah, I mean, I thought that was so cool when I was, back when I was younger. So yeah,
That-
man, a lot of my favorites were centered around like
right.
swag and the way that they carried themselves. So,
Yeah. I mean, that's evident in your acolyte character.
oh yeah, for sure.
Were there any? Because you mentioned when you started Concrete as sort of a subset of what you already had going on with your music work. Um, were there any? And you mentioned that Dark Eagle was kind of an inspiration. Were there any other independent black companies that inspired you to do Concrete, or how you did Concrete?
Well, I think what inspired me most about the seeing Dark Eagle, that was my first time seeing that there were independent people doing comics. I always thought about the main two, Marvel and DC. I
Right.
probably knew a little bit about Image because of Spawn, but that was kind of as far as I went. I really was a big X-Men fan, so that's kind of where I was. I was there, but I didn't know there was regular people making comics. Before I got into comics, I thought the person that drew it was the person that wrote it, and I thought it was just one guy. So it was like I I learned a lot when I got into the business, man. And that's one thing I wanted to do before I even stepped into the business. I wanted to learn it. I didn't just jump into making a character, because if I'm going to do something, it's not really just going to be a hobby. I want it to be my life. So I really had to
Right.
learn. I really had to study. I looked into the community of the indie comics. I think I stumbled upon there was a group called the Powerverse, and that's where it was like the mecca of all indie comics at the time. It was so many people in there that I could just look at and pick from and see how they're doing it. Because once I knew how to do it, now I know how to present it. coming from a music background, I kind of already have in my head how to market and promote and the importance of a brand. Now I just got to tell a good story.
Well, let's get into that. Let's get into your comics. Derek, can you pull up that first slide? Yeah. So let me tell you, in looking at your comics, one of the first things that really sort of strikes me, because here at Black Comic Lords, we see a lot of comics. We're
Yeah.
exposed to a lot of comics. We're even asked by a lot of creators to sort of review their comics. But what stands apart for me when I look at Konkret Comics is the art. You guys are so on point with your art. Like there are a lot of independent creators will have really dope writing, but sometimes they'll have really lacking in the art area. And for the
Yeah.
comics medium, you have to have that balance between the writing and the art. And your art is really just eye catching. And one of the things I always noticed that's unique to your books specifically is the coloring. And
Mm.
I looked at the colorist on the majority of your books. You have this one guy, Matthias Huve. How do you pronounce that?
I believe it's hobby.
Javi. Matthias
Yeah.
Javi. That look, his coloring on these books is outstanding. I mean, the page just
Yeah.
pops. And he's done the majority, if not all, of your books, right?
Yeah. He works on a lot, man. I think some of the strategies I had with with, um with conversations with the creator of Absolver. He's big on color theory, and something that Jamil has taught me with color theory is that how the color, every aspect of a comic book tells a story,
Mhm.
from the line work, the shadowing, then the colors, and everything tells a story. So a certain tone can make you feel a certain way. So when it comes to some of our characters, like the more heroic ones, like the Acolytes, Odinas, the Tinox, the Watchmans, Organic Chrissies, they kind of have the same colors because they're setting a mood of feeling hopeful, feeling like there's a hero there.
Right.
Um, and when you look at stories like Absolver or Primate, Zoriel, they're a little bit more on the darker side. Even
Right. I think that first issue of Absolver takes place entirely at night.
Yeah, Saturday night. It's supposed to set a tone, kind of like when you think of Gotham in Metropolis. Gotham is always rainy, it's always cloudy, it's never a sunny day there. It's always gloomy, and that's how you feel when you read a Batman comic. So just studying that from the greats and seeing how they work on tone is really what we wanted to model Concrete Comics after. So when you come into our world and you pick up one of our books, depending on the tone that you're looking for, that is that's exactly what you're gonna get.
Did you make a conscious effort to like find such dope artists to do the art on these books? Because consistently throughout each one of these titles, there's not bad art on any of them.
Oh no, I appreciate that, man. We we vetted a lot of people.
Yeah.
In the beginning it was hard finding people that could capture your vision. When I met Matthias, he had never colored a comic book. He was trying to get into the business. He's only like 21 years old. Um,
Oh,
he's very young. So I was looking for a colorist to color Acolyte. And we tried some pinups out. We tried some things out, and he instantly grabbed the attention of what I needed for Acolyte, like what I wanted him to feel like, the blues to pop, the blacks to pop, and for his vibrancy. And once he worked out good for me, I introduced him to Onaji with Odina, and he met a couple of the other creators, and we kind of made him a concrete colorist. So now he's one of our main colorists of concrete.
right.
Um, he usually gets first dibs on the books, but he also working with artists that love your comics is a plus to me. I didn't want to work with nobody that just took it on as a job. I wanted them to actually love the character. So everybody that draws our books, um, they love the characters as well. So I think that's why you see the love within the pages.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. Each one of these books, when I started reading them, I noticed each of them sort of jumps directly into the story without a whole lot of backstory. Like you'll have on the first page a backstory of what's going on, and I always thought like, wow, did I miss an issue? Is this issue number one?
Right, right.
Is there going to be like an issue zero at some point that goes further into the backstory of these books, or is this something where the backstory is going to be developed later on?
Oh yeah. So there's multiple styles to how we're definitely gonna be filling you guys in with the backstory. But as a publisher, as an indie publisher, I realized time isn't really on our hands
Right.
to make people fall in love. So how can we start you guys in a point where we're gonna show you a little bit of their growth, but we're gonna get you to the story first, and then we'll take you back to how we got there. Because
So
right now,
that was a conscious decision on your part.
yeah, to make sure we get your attention first. Like, not all of us have the time to bring you, to do 2 or 3 issues of them before they become who they are. Right now, when you drop an indie comics, you kind of got that one shot, that one that one thing, because we don't make our books as frequent as the big two. So
Right.
how am I going to keep your attention with a book where you only see him talk to like 3 people and they're telling him how great he is, and then you got to wait for the next issue. So how can we get you on that first issue to be locked in and be want to know what this character is about? So that was kind of the mindset between a lot of the characters that we did. Now that we got a lot more content though, we are being more lenient and telling you story, because we know that the people that are rocking with Concrete have kind of been with us since day one, and they just love seeing what we bring out.
How many titles do you have in total right now?
I gotta do a finger count real quick. Hold on. 1 second. We got Acolyte, Medina, Absolver, Tanakh, Watchman, Starboy, Deja Vu, Luna, Organic Chrissy, Decimation Earth. I want to say 11 right now.
Yeah.
I might be missing 1 or 2.
Right. Yeah, it seemed like you had about a dozen books.
Yeah.
Are all of these titles, because as I read them, some of them story-wise seem like they could be in the same universe. Are all or at least some of these titles in the same universe? Are you trying to develop a cogent, uniform universe for all of these characters?
Yeah, they're all in the same universe. All of
Okay.
them, same Earth, same like Absolvers. He's in Jersey City. Acolytes in Sapphire City, which is a part of Philadelphia. So
Right.
they're right near each other. And Odina's in Atlanta. Watchman, he's in Chicago. Primate, he's in Connecticut. So yeah, like all of them are in the same world, same time frame. We do have some that are in pocket dimensions, but same universe.
Huh. So can we expect like a crossover between all of these books at some point?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's already stories that are sitting on the table. We just really wanted to solidify the characters individually first, because I didn't want to jump out with a big old group thing, because that could take away from somebody else's beginning. So now I want our fans to get a chance to love the characters individually. So when we bring them together, it'll be that much more, glorious.
Somebody said in the chat, couching and slouching with C Bizzle. Bryant says he loves that Luna cover.
Oh yeah, man! Shout out to Luna. Her artist is Ian Sebastian. He's incredible. He's actually doing Deja Vu as well. He's the guy right there in the front. His Kickstarter is actually finishing tomorrow.
Frustrated Fans Show says you can also see the passion in the writing when they love the characters. And I think that really comes across.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. No, yeah. We generally love these characters, man. All of us come from a place of these have been our babies for years. Now to see them actually on the pages is like, it's such a humbling feeling to see people at Comic Cons come up, and the first person that wanted an autograph from me was a humbling experience. Very humbling.
Well, let's get into your books. I'm going to do them in alphabetical order because I don't want to
Okay.
get myself confused. Let's start with Absolver.
The Wraith of Vengeance, right there.
The Wraith of Vengeance. I mean, this is created and written by Jamil Lessie, illustrated by Hakan Aydin. This character strikes me as a cross between or a hybrid of Shadow Man and Spawn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, what can you tell us about this character?
So Jamil is a real he's a real genius when it comes to lore, and I can tell by the people he's studied, the books he's read. Because when it comes to Absolver, he does such a magnificent, like he tells a story in three different ways in the book, where you're looking at something, then the caption is reading like almost in a poetic way of what you're seeing while you're also reading the people talking. So the way that Jamil tells his story is pretty masterful, man. He's somebody that I learned a lot from just by how to be deceptive in your writing and leading people down a path that they don't know where they're going, but they're on the path. So he's real brilliant at that, man. And Absolver has it's so many twists that are coming in this story. You guys are kind of seeing him in his infant stage where he still doesn't really know who he is. He's still figuring out what he is and what his purpose is.
Is he a hero? Is he an anti-hero?
Oh no, he's just a purpose. He's just a purpose. He's not a hero. You may look at him and he may do something that you may deem heroic, or you may see him do something that you deem like somebody need to take this guy out. So he's not an anti-hero. He's just is. He's just a purpose.
What's his power set?
So his power set is he can he has a move called the Vanquish where he can kind of take the abilities of who he vanquishes, and and he stores them as well. So say for instance he came across a Captain America and he was fighting him and wound up getting him in his vanquished, and he would have Captain America's abilities and some of his knowledge as well of how to use those abilities. So he can kind of be anything he needs to be, but he has to learn how to I guess how to manifest what he wants to do. You know what I'm saying?
It sounds kind of it sounds like the Highlander or something. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, he's definitely dope. And it's very hard to it's not hard to hurt him, but it's very hard to kill him. You kind of have to know specifically how to kill him to take him out, and there's only a few people that know that.
It seems like he was dead and he came back, and he has this woman who's like a handler for him. Can you tell us about this handler person?
Yes, her name is Leah. She's trying to figure out what he can do as well. She's kind of shocked that he was able to, I don't want to spoil it too much, but how he was able to touch a creature and then kind of feel how it was killed, and then that's what fueled him to want to reap that vengeance that animal felt before it died. So that's kind of she's still shocked at how his abilities work because she's never seen a mezzo operate like this, and she's learning as the same time as he's learning, trying to help him understand who he is. But at the same time, she has a crazy backstory too that I think y'all guys are gonna start seeing. Well, we see a little bit of it in issue 3, but issue 4 and 5 definitely bridge more into the gap of who she is and why she's important to him.
Now, you said he wasn't really a hero per se. He just is. So I won't ask the question in a sense of him being a villain, but what can you tell us about his antagonist, the person he's sort of going up against, Mr. Block?
Oh no, so he's not going up against Block. That guy there, his name is Pastor David. He actually runs like a organization that operates inside of the church. They're kind of like a secret service for all supernatural events, and he knows that Absolver's here, and he's sending people to go and find out what he's about. But he definitely doesn't look at him as something that needs to be on this earth plane. So yeah, he's not necessarily a villain of Absolver. He's just an obstacle in the
Right.
way. The true villains are in the shadows of issue 1. That you see him. That girl right down there at the bottom page. She leads somebody to this shadow figure that you see in the pages, and he is coming. I can't say his name yet because it hasn't been revealed yet, but he is coming.
How many issues have been released on Absolver so far?
There's 3 issues of Absolver. 4 is in the work. 4 is almost complete right now.
All right. Well, what can we look forward to with this character?
You can look forward to not expecting what you think you're going to get. It's going to twist your world upside down for sure. And he represents the darkest dark of the Konkret universe. And I think that's what makes him so exciting is that, we have such a wide variety of characters, and Absolver is like the literal darkest one of them all. So if you're into the dark supernatural, the stuff like that, he's definitely the perfect person for you to read.
Well, let's get into a character that's now very close to your heart, Acolyte.
Ah, the man, the myth,
Indeed.
the legend.
Created and written by you, with art
Yeah.
by Opie Hidayat. I know I'm going to butcher this brother's name.
Yeah. He
And Michael
did
Woods.
the first issue. Yep. They did the first. Well, it was kind of a joint thing. They did the main pages, and then Bruno Lima and Matthias, they colored all of the pinup pages within the book.
Now, this was my first exposure to Konkret a couple years ago. This is the first book of Konkret I ever bought and read. Would you say Acolyte is considered the flagship book of the Konkret universe?
I would say that yes, he's the first hero of Konkret. He's the quote unquote the Superman of the universe. So yeah, he would definitely be considered as that.
So the main character's name is Dimitri Price.
Yes.
Can you what can you tell us about him? Is he human? Is he an alien? Is he a god, or is he something else?
So this is a story about a man who discovers he shares DNA with the cosmic god, and now he must learn the ways of an infinite supreme to protect the powerless from the powerful. So what's basically he's a human. He's definitely a human, but he shares a special gene with the cosmic god, and that's where his powers come from.
Yeah, the first time you see him, and the very first few pages, he's with this character called King Kalan. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, he's with
Kalan?
King Kalan.
So what kingdom is he from? What is he the kingdom of?
Go.
Say again.
Oh no, that's just so King Kalan. He's sort of like his mentor right now. He's somebody like I kind of explained it in the reprint of issue 1. But he was sent to collect Dimitri to bring him somewhere, and on the way picking him up, he was tasked with training him to be ready to meet what this his cosmic father wanted him to learn. But
Well, the other thing Kalan mentions is that he's seeking redemption. Like, what is he seeking redemption for?
He suffered a tragic loss in his teenage years, and he felt powerless at that moment, and he vowed to never kind of feel powerless again. But to feel powerless, and then within days found out that you weren't powerless and that you could have done something, that really messes with him.
You mentioned that Dimitri is earlier on. You said he was from Sapphire City, which is a subset of Philadelphia.
Yes.
What type of place is Sapphire City?
Sapphire City, it's a place. Well, the history behind it is Sapphire City used to be a very profitable African American town, a small town, known for its mining, known for its sapphire that they were able to get. And throughout the years, it's became a place where a lot of the world's most notorious villains come to get a fresh start.
Mhm.
So it's like a metropolis mixed with the Bronx, New York. So
Right,
it's
right.
it has a lot of potential. It's a lot of upscale businesses there, a lot of people there that are very important, very 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 profitable. But then there's also some of the most heinous and cruel mob bosses there as well.
I don't want to do any spoilers, but you mentioned this character um, that Dimitri eventually meets, Abner,
Yeah,
uh, who has some type of connections to
yeah,
Dimitri
yeah,
and provides him some background info on himself and sort of a setup for the universe, the concrete universe that they live in. One of the places that's mentioned, and I think you mentioned it earlier, was Kokora. What is
yeah.
that?
The Kokora is it's the power that you see Acolyte using. Is to us humans, it would be basically the fusion of dark matter. So that's basically what the Kokora is. It's powering up the dark matter that is around him. That's how he flies. That's what he shoots. What beams come out of his eyes. That's how he can move things without kind of touching them. So he has a lot of abilities that he had to learn how to use it through the Kokora, because the Kokora is all around us. It's always present.
One of the things Abner also mentions is this great cataclysm. He sort of
Right.
mentions that in passing. That
So
sounds like
Abner
their background. What is that about?
So Abner and his people, well, I guess his race, they were born in the Big Bang, and they call it the Great Cataclysm. But they were born within the Great Cataclysm, where everything was being created, and the Kokora is one of the primary forces in the universe that kind of sparked everything, and that's basically what that is.
See, this is the stuff I love, man. Because like when I hear you talk about these characters and the background and the universe and the great cataclysm, the Kokora, I mean, it sounds like you put a lot of thought into this. There's a lot of uh, background and almost like a Bible. I mean, you must have like a concrete universe Bible explaining how all of this ties together, and it's very well thought out, and I think it shows in the writing across all these books. So hats off to you on that, man.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate that, man.
One of the characters that we come across in the very first issue is Cosmosa and
Ah,
Monitus.
yes, yes,
Real dope entrance.
yeah,
Real dope
yeah,
entrance. I love when I'm reading a comic book and a character it enters into the book and you can almost hear like a soundtrack. Like
yeah, yeah.
that's how the entrance of these two characters come in. Like I'm hearing a beat come in when they come in. Um, they're gods, right? That's how they
Right.
introduce themselves. Like, and there are a lot of gods, and we'll talk about it more. A lot of gods throughout the concrete universe. What pantheon of gods are these two characters from?
I would say we would look at them as gods, right? But if I was to compare them with another universe, right, they would be um, they would be the people underneath the one above all.
Okay,
So Cosmosa is basically, she is the multiverse. We live within her hair. She's the embodiment of the multiverse,
oh, that's
and
dope.
she's literally, she just came down in this form so that we could perceive her and
Right,
understand her. But
right.
she's really not here. She's not here, but she is here. She's everywhere. But her hair is where we live at, and that's Cosmosa. And Monetus, her companion. He's the overseer of all. He can see all possibilities in every instance of existence. So as kind of like her God, she has all power, but he's the one that be like, nah, don't do that. he's gonna be good. Don't do this. We can go here, but be good because they're not tripping. So that's kind of what their dynamic is. So the the cool thing about Cosmos and Monosis is that you seeing them is a super rarity. So that's why I put them in Acolyte's first book, because you may not see them again till issue 100 or issue 5,000. They're that important. They're the pinnacle of everything.
Right. Right. I like this. This question just came up. Frustrated Fan Show asked, "Have you even matched up some music with a fight scene in a book and let people know what sound to listen to while reading the book?" So basically, does your book have a soundtrack?
If issue one of Acolyte had a soundtrack, it would be the Chronic 2001 by Dr. Dre. I'm saying, yeah,
You should straight up do that. Like, for real. Like,
yeah.
go on Spotify and make like a playlist for songs that you think people should listen to as they're reading the book.
So we are working on our own concrete music soundtrack for the comic books as well. Like I planned on doing like an instrumental album for Acolyte and for Concrete in
Right.
general. So yeah, it definitely will be a lot of music tied into what we're doing. I think it's in the perfect place now because we have a lot of meat to our story.
Right.
So
One of the things I also noticed, one of the things
thank
that
you.
one of the reasons I asked you about the pantheon of gods and where they come from, I saw on this one page, um, are any
Yes,
of the
yes.
gods of this book sort of related to ancient Egypt or Kemet? Because I saw this. This is a different planet, and you've got these
Yeah.
pyramids and things that look very Egyptian.
Well, I wanted, this is a major Easter egg. If anybody doesn't know, when you
Oh,
look at the chair she's sitting on, there's a symbol on there, and it's gonna show up soon. But I would say this: the people that inspired the Egyptian gods are the people that created all that stuff.
wow, wow. What can we expect? What should your fans expect for the future of Acolyte?
Oh, Acolyte, it's a cosmic adventure, man. Acolyte is everything I wish Superman was. I wish Superman was more cosmic, you know what I mean, and less Earth based. And I wish Silver Surfer was more relatable. So
Yeah,
how could I blend them two? And that's kind of what my thought process was with Acolyte. So Acolyte is basically is Superman mixed with Dragon Ball mixed with Luke Cage all in one. You know?
that's a very accurate description of how he comes across too.
Yeah,
Azor
because
B,
mhm,
Azor B said one of the best lines ever when Acolyte tells the reporter, "If the
exactly.
government got a problem with him, pull up."
Tell him pull up, man. Tell him pull up. Exactly. You know, I can't. He's when I created Acolyte, he wasn't. I created him after me. Even some of the characters that you mentioned, Cosmos and Monetus, the inspiration was my mom and dad.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's my mom and dad. My his villain, one of the villains you see, Mr. Block, he looks just like my big brother. He's literally my brother. So, you know, and when I created Acolyte, it's supposed to be me. And even Kalon and Abner and Acolyte, that's the mind, body, and soul of my consciousness. I should think of myself as a god. King Kalon, he's a king. He carries himself as such. But Acolyte is the human side of me that wants to do better and is trying to learn from everything around me. So that's kind of what I meshed together with Acolyte. So it's a story of me if I was a superhero. You know what I'm saying?
so we're gonna move on to the next book, Andy Starboy.
Andy Starboy.
So
Yeah, I love that.
here's the thing. Of all the concrete books that I read, this book gave me the most apprehension
Mhm.
because I'm looking at the cover and I'm like, and I'm looking at the name. I'm like, this. I don't know if this is gonna. I don't know if this is for me, man. I don't think I want to vibe with this.
Right.
And honestly, this is like one of my favorite books writing wise.
Yeah.
It was so damn well written. Um, the repartee of the characters, the dialogue. I felt like I was watching a television show or a movie or something. It was just
Yeah.
that on point. Like it's if someone wanted to option one of the properties, this one is like ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, this is written by Daniel De Calvo and art by Leandro Meneses, who I believe he's also done art on some other books that you've done. Concrete's done, and we'll talk
Yeah.
about.
Hmm.
What I also liked was the fact that Concrete not just has these characters that um, represent black culture, but you also have some brown culture too, because you've got some Latinx characters in this book.
Yeah. Oh
Which
yeah.
I thought that was a dope thing too.
Oh yeah, man. Andy Starboy is definitely Andy's one of those sneaky comics that you curious about.
Right.
But when you give it a try, it's gonna lock you in.
Yeah.
Daniel,
Spider-Man fans would get into this book.
yeah, Daniel DiCaprio, he's a brilliant writer. He's young. He's like 21 years old. This was he's a foreign exchange student. He's from Cuba. He came over from Cuba, and
Really?
this one of his dreams was to work for a comic book publisher. So when he submitted these stories to me, it was about three different stories he submitted to me. I loved them all, but Andy Starber was the one I said when I was just thinking about, because I'm always thinking about my fans when I pick titles. I'm thinking about, well, what don't we have? What's gonna throw in that screwball in there that's gonna make you question if you want to read this, and then you read it and you be like, "Man, that's a banger." So
Yeah. Yeah.
when I read Andy Starboy, just the way he looks, the style, I know we don't have anything like that in Concrete. Everybody, you can kind of understand them physically. This
Right.
one you can't. So you're gonna have to read this story and figure out what this is about. And when you read it, he's one of the most relatable and he's one of the most fleshed out origin stories that we have.
Right. Right. That was what struck me the most. For those who may not be familiar with the book, I mean the background is aliens coming to Earth via Roswell, and you know the government reverse engineers a lot of this alien technology that comes out of Roswell, New Mexico, and sort of the radioactive nature of the technology mutates human beings and animals and creates this new subset called new breeds.
Right.
Um, it just that very premise is like classic storytelling telling from a comic book lore. I mean, that's how when you think about it, the old stuff that Stan Lee used to write, you know, um, how many characters were created based on radioactivity, right? In the
Yeah.
Marvel universe, the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, etc. That's just classic storytelling, and I dug that aspect of it. It was kind of a throwback in terms of how it was written.
Yeah.
I really dug this book. I don't want to give any spoilers on the book, but I was surprised by how much I dug this book.
Oh yeah, but Andy Starboy was great, man. Even the way it ended, we kind of produced it as a one shot because we wanted people to get a feel for it. But a lot of our fans are requesting they want more. They want
Yeah,
more of Andy. So we're definitely working on that. We hear you guys, and yeah, I think when we do Andy, it'll be more so of a graphic novel. So it'll be a completed story that can kind of get you where you want to go to, and we'll tell him in volumes.
you're good as long as he comes back. 'Cause that's a story that needs to get completed. I was really impressed by how well written that book was. So
Yeah.
let's move on to the next character, uh, Kandaki.
Uh-oh, Kandaki. Yes,
I'm pronouncing
yes.
that right?
Yep.
Kandaki.
Yes, yes.
Dope character, man. Written by Onaji Rouse, drawn by Droigo Trindade. The obvious comparison people are going to make would be Wonder Woman, right? It's like
Right.
people look at this and immediately go, "This is the Wonder Woman of the Concrete universe."
Right.
I want you to explain to the fans that may be watching this, what's the distinction between her and Wonder Woman?
Well, for one, she's based off of real real history. She's based off of our history.
Yeah.
And Anaji, he's one of Concrete's historians. He really wants to dive into some of the African cultures that aren't so much talked about. Everybody talks about Egypt a lot, and they talk about that. But what are the other kingdoms, the Kush kingdoms, and places like that? And that's where he dives in. And Kandaki, her story is glorious. Her real story is pretty dope. It was kind of what kind of what that movie that just came out.
The Woman King?
Yeah, that's basically about them.
Right.
About what they did. All women taking care of business, protecting their country, their king, and doing their thing. And that's basically what Kandaki is. She's the one that you don't want to play with.
One of the things you mentioned was a story. The story is entitled in the first issue, "The Lost Kingdom."
Yes.
What is that? What is the Lost Kingdom?
Well, she's been gone for quite a while, and when she came back, everything she known isn't what it is. So it's like she's still getting accustomed to this world that she's in right now, and she's trying to restore her kingdom. So, she's not a hero. She would be more like a anti-hero, kind of like how they're trying to do Black Adam. You know what I'm saying? She does kind of her own thing for her people, and that's what she's trying to uplift. But she came back and seen that her people are basically gone. They're scattered around. They're called different things. They don't really worship what they worshipped. So she's coming to restore that. But as she's restoring that, there's other people from Purgatory that came out that she's going to have to run into.
Now, you mentioned the Purgatory, and that she had been gone for a while. This Purgatory or hell that she was in, where was it, or why was she away? Without giving spoilers, can you sort of give us some background as to how long she was gone and why? What brings her back?
Well, what brings her back is an event. Kandaki's connected to the Odina world. She's like the upper level of what Odina's dealing with. The main villain in Odina is somebody that's directly connected to her. That's on her level. I don't want to give too much away, but you'll find out soon why she was in Purgatory and how long she's been there.
Can you tell us what are her powers or abilities?
Super speed, super strength. Her fighting prowess is probably the most deadliest of her. Outside of the super strength, super speed. You could look at it. You could look at her like you would look at Wonder Woman. Like you would look at who's the girl that be with Thor? Sif, kind of like a Sif type style. So yeah, she's up there in strength and speed. She can definitely do some damage with some of the heavy hitters.
There's a goddess that shows up in this book.
Yes.
Who is this goddess?
I can't say that either. But
all right, I don't want you to give me a spoiler.
But she is, you see her in Sister Circle.
In Sister Circle.
That's where you'll see her at in Sister Circle and in issue 4 of Odina.
I kind of want to ask this next question, but I don't want to do any spoilers. You mentioned that in Acolyte you had these gods of this world that is sort of the precursors to what happens in Egypt, ancient Egypt. If Kandaki's from this time period of ancient Kemet and Kush, would there therefore be kind of a nexus or a tie between her or her gods from that time and that universe that we saw, that planet that we saw in Acolyte?
They would be familiar with them, but when you think about it, think about the Anunnaki and the Egyptians.
Yeah.
We look at them as one and the same, but we know the Anunnaki predate them by a lot, and some of what inspired the Egyptians might have been from that. So think about that type of a relationship. And when you think about the gods in the pantheon that Onaji's building, it's similar to how you would look at how Asgard mythology and Greek mythology is, where they got their own hell, their own heaven, their own concepts. But basically, on a scientific on the scientific explanation side, it would really just be they operate in their own dimension.
Right. Right.
I mean,
I dug the book. I always have a lot of love and respect for when edutainment is done in comics.
right.
If you can tell a
How to
story,
do it and be entertaining. Exactly.
yeah, how you can do it, be entertaining, expose people to things they may not have seen before, teach a history lesson, teach a cultural lesson about us and our background, and put that in an entertaining format so that even young people can get into it. I look, you'll have my support every time when you do some stuff like that and,
Well, yeah,
and make
sure.
it dope. So yeah, hats off to y'all for that. I
Well,
really enjoyed that.
Shout
So
out
let's
to Kendaki.
huh?
No, I said shout out to Kendaki and definitely shout out to Onaji, man.
Yeah,
He goes
yeah.
in.
Well done, well written, and action packed. I mean, Kendaki about that action. I'll just say it like that.
Yeah.
If y'all haven't read the book, make sure you check it out. One of the characters you mentioned was Odina.
Uh-oh.
Right?
The first lady of Concrete right there.
First lady of Concrete. Now, we just saw Kendaki, and you might think to yourself, well, that's a bad chick right there. Like that's a superhero who definitely is the centerpiece of Concrete. And then you meet Odina.
Yeah. Meet Odina.
Written again by Onaji Rouse with art by Leandre Menezes. Adina Trussard, for those who don't know, she's this former agent of this program called the SS program, a government program, who returns after other former agents are killed. Can you give us some background or tell us what is the SS program? I just assumed SS stood for super soldier because I'm an old Marvel guy, but like, what is the SS program?
So we're still, the cool thing about Anaji is that he's similar to Jamil. He really likes to throw in those twists and turns to keep you on the edge of the seat to find out what things truly are. Okay. But basically, the thing about Odina is that she never wanted to be a superhero. She kind of always wanted to do her own thing and just have a regular life. But these events are pulling her back in, where she has to set aside her own personal investments and do what's greater for the greater good and join up with her old team, which she doesn't want to. And I'm sure that she read in issue 1 how she's reluctant. She don't want to be there and she don't want to be bothered. She just wants to do her job and go back home. But it's so much deeper than that in this story. And the cool thing about the Odina series is that in the first issue, you kind of see her immaturity, her kind of struggling with leadership. But as you see that story goes on, you see her starting to understand the gravity of this event. And by issue 4, people are like, okay, Odina is one of them ones. We understand why they call her Odina be the baddest.
Yeah. This story was mad layered, very layered. And I was surprised by how much you packed into this one, just the first issue, in terms of the background. I noticed in the prologue of this book takes place in northern Sudan, where much of the storyline for Kendaki takes place. Is there a connection there? Is that intentional?
There's definitely a connection there, and that in itself was definitely a lot like an Easter egg to Kendaki is coming.
Okay.
And even this is brilliant writing, because this is right in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? And it picks up right where you need it to be.
Yeah,
So yeah, no.
I love how it's all tied together, man. If you're reading one book, it kind of touches upon another book.
Oh yeah, no. The Odina verse is very lively. There's a lot there's a lot of connections, but you gotta paying attention to the small pages is where you're gonna see like, oh, wait a minute, didn't I? Weren't we just in this place on this issue, and weren't we here? Why are we here again? And then you start realizing like, oh wow, everything is connected. Everything is loosely connected, but tying into a greater event, which you're gonna see in the events of Odina. I think Odina 5 and 6 is really gonna solidify what Kendaki will be going through after that.
How many issues have come out so far?
Odina has 4 issues, and 5 is on the way in a few more weeks.
That's dope. That's what's up. I tell you, one of the things I also really loved about this book in particular was the fact that this is the first time of the books I was reading that I saw a super team in the Konkret universe.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What's the name? What's the name of the super team?
They don't really have a name right now.
Okay. So it wasn't just me. I thought I missed out. So
yeah, nah. They kind of they all work for the same program.
Yeah.
But I think they are going to have a name after this event that they're about to go through. That's for sure. that's for sure.
Will you mentioned Sister Circle, which is one of the books I didn't get a chance to read. But is there going to be a super team book in the Konkret universe?
So yeah, Sister Circle is actually a team book. It's the first. I think it's the first in comic history of an all Black female team.
Wow.
An all Black female team. There's no males on the team. They don't take no leadership from a male. It's them, and they're out here, and they're connected to Odina as well. Odina makes an appearance in their book, and they're connected to Kendaki as well.
That's great if you do that, man. I mean, that's making history. The closest we've ever had to an all female Black superhero team, I think, was in Eve Ewing's run of Ironheart.
Okay.
One of the last issues when they went to Wakanda, and there was Silhouette, Ironheart, and Okoye. All on the same team with Shuri.
Oh, yeah.
That's close, but they weren't an official team. They were just kind of like a team up.
Yeah, like
it's never been an official team. So, hats off to you for accomplishing that historic.
Oh yeah, nah, man. Shout out to Anaji Rouse, man. He has this all planned out. That like how he plans to really put on for the Black women in the industry, because that's been a major void. Is showing Black women in powerful positions. I know we got Nubia, but we obviously look at Diana as the first, as the number one, and then her. And Storm has always been Storm, but she's never, not so recently, she's never really been able to show like who she really is and how she really gets down. So
yeah,
in Konkret, we really want to put our ladies out there and let you know that they're powerful. They don't need no man. They independent ladies,
As a girl dad, I appreciate that, man. I like the fact that there were some books out there my daughter can be exposed to and look up to. So hats off to you for that, man. Now circling back to Odina, she seems immensely powerful. Like, what is her power set?
Super strength, super speed. She has some abilities that she hasn't unlocked yet. But yeah, she's up there. She would be probably, if we're talking about what you know of in the Konkret on Earth, she would probably be second to Acolyte right now.
Oh wow, okay.
That's
a cosmic powered being.
She'd be one of the ones that she could save a city probably by herself. And you would have probably her and Tenok are probably up there in the top 3 when it comes to the power scale. If Acolyte wasn't on Earth, she would be the one that you would have to call for sure.
Right. Another thing, and like I said, this book is very layered, and it packed a lot in a short period of just one issue, the first issue. Will this book provide us some Black super love? Because we have this this interaction between these two characters. And that's like a thing with me, man, because there's not really a lot of seeing two black superheroes in love in a healthy relationship in comics. You just don't we don't it's so ridiculously rare to see that in an ongoing book. You'll see, Sam Wilson and the Misty Knight, have this scene in this book here, or you'll see, this other two characters here, but you don't really see it in an ongoing book. Is this something that's going to be developed in the future in Odina?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like her book, there's so many characters in the Odina verse. In Odina, definitely, there's a couple people that got her eye for sure. And yeah, like I one thing about Concrete is that we're looking to kind of break a lot of stereotypes within the Black community. Like, we plan on showing healthy relationships, positive father figures, you know, heroes that are wealthy, that aren't just, broke. Like, there's no reason Black Lightning could have been a professor at a prestige college or something. He didn't have to be at some hood school. You know what I'm saying? He could have been one of those guys like everybody else on the Justice League has a good job. They all work in good, respectable jobs. Flash is like 20 years old with a high ranking job in a police department. So, we want to show that with Black and brown characters as well. Show them we don't always got to be in the hood. We don't always got to be what society thinks we are, and what we're actually not.
Right.
Plenty of us had 2-parent homes and good father figures and stuff like that. So that's something that we want to show, and we want people that read our books, kids that read our books, to see that, because that's part of the problem is that we don't see it enough. So
we're gonna touch upon that last point you just made on another book a little bit later. But I want to draw to, I don't want to belabor the point on Odina because I just enjoyed the book. But as I said, it was very layered. There's one character I want to draw your attention to, and I'm going to mess up this name, but Arens Nufus, or Arens for short.
Arens Nufus.
This character.
Yeah.
Now this dialogue. I don't know. I just dug the page. I dug the dialogue on this page. So let me just read this out. I am as old as the pyramids in the ancient city of Meroe. My people sculpted mortals, the crowned pharaohs and queens to our liking. We created dynasties and kingdoms in the birthplace of humanity. I am Arenufus, god of life, air, and wind. We once ruled the earth plane, all gods of each pantheon. We became arrogant as we used the mortals and would often use for wars, conquest, and even carnal desires. I mean,
yeah.
The writing on that just sucked me in. Like, I felt like I just went on a whole journey. And this is just one panel. There's not like a whole bunch of pictures, but the words just evoke this like entire journey. And I just wanted to point that out. Like that was really well written.
But man, he's out there.
Also makes me interested to learn more about this character.
He wants to show, in that writing, what Anaji's doing. He's trying to, he's breaking them stereotypes, man. We were gods. We built these pyramids. We did some glorious things. We created civilizations. And that's something that we never really get to see in comics of them talking like that. That's why we all love Black Panther so much, because we get to see us as kings, as queens, as royalty. We rarely ever get to see that. So when you're reading Odina, you're going to learn a lot about royalty, a lot about real African culture.
Yeah. And I'm 100% here for it. I mean, this book screams crossover. I hope there's going to be a massive crossover with this book, because it's set up for that. What can we expect in Odina's future?
Well, Odina got a statue coming for sure. look for more Odina merch. And actually, Onaji has a GoFundMe right now. He's working on a live action for a crossover series from the Odina verse called Drafted. So yeah, be on the lookout for that on our page. If y'all are following us on Konkret Comics, Facebook or IG or anything like that, we definitely will be promoting that GoFundMe. If you guys want to see the trailer for the live action, we have it on our IG page. So definitely check that out. And Dina, definitely issues 5 and 6 are literally almost wrapped up. So that first volume will be done. You'll get a full book, and she'll be released, online and in a comic book store near you.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to that. Moving on to the next character. This character I deem is one of the most grounded of the characters in the Konkret universe. Organic Chrissy.
Yes.
It was written and created by you and Christina Elkins.
Yes,
and what I love the most about this book is of all the titles that you had, I thought this was the most kid friendly, and it really had this really sort of direct message to it. Was that intentional?
Yeah, well, see, the funny thing about Organic Chrissy is she's a real person.
Right.
She's a real person in real life. That her name is Organic Chrissy, and she's big on health, big on eating right. She's a fitness guru, and she's out here doing it major. So when she approached me about she wanted to make herself into a comic book character. There she is. There she is. She wanted to make herself into a comic book character with all her morals and values, and this is what we came up with. So how the challenge was how to make what she wanted to do into a cool character, and to make it entertaining, but we're also gonna teach people and kids and families how to eat right and how to eat healthy. So I felt like this was much needed in the Konkret universe, in the community as a whole, and it really brought something new to the table.
It was an interesting take on a superhero in that, for those who are not familiar, she got her powers, for lack of a better term, by pushing her body to being at the peak of human levels, which basically activates this gene, which gave her these extra abilities on top of being at peak human levels.
Yeah.
It was dope. As was reading the solicit, it describes her as Organic Chrissy is Luke Cage meets Foxy Brown mixed in with some good old black girl magic, which is kind of dope.
Yeah.
This was the shorter of the books that I read. What's the future for this character?
Oh, so we're right now we're working on her graphic novel. I mean, it's gonna be a healthy 40-page book. That's really gonna set the landscape for these type of stories. She's in Charlotte. She holds it down for Charlotte, and I would say this: you're gonna see her going to war. Well, not necessarily war, but going to battle with big pharma and people like that come into these communities, come into the black communities and try to poison us with the fast foods and the places like that. She's going to be the one that's going to be handling that. And it's a really dope story because it taps on it taps on another section of the universe that is a reality. It happens to us in real life, and I feel like it's going to be a lot of lessons learned through Organic Chrissy's story.
That's what's up. Well, I look forward to that one coming back as well. We're going to touch upon another character that you mentioned. You said that when Acolyte is off-world, the next person who's up power-wise was Odina, or another character you mentioned, which is Tenok.
Tenok, yep. Written by Daniel DeCalvo, the same writer from Andy Starboy.
From Danny Starboy. So again, we have representation in the Latinx community with this particular character. What I found most interesting about this particular book was the premise, which is this exploration of the Mesoamerican gods. Because we already had a little bit touched upon with Kandaki, the gods of ancient Kemet and Kush, and in this one we have the ancient Mesoamerican gods, but they're in modern times. And so
Yeah.
you have this opportunity in this book where you're teaching. I mean, I'm reading the book and I'm like, they're teaching me things I hadn't known about, you
Right.
know. And so you're getting this history and cultural lesson while you're reading the book. The background on these characters is in and of itself a history and cultural lesson. I thought that was dope.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think audiences, particularly Latinx community audiences, will appreciate this, particularly in light of the success of the Wakanda Forever, movie, which
Yeah.
introduced this, this Talakan people. Um, it's what's what I also is interesting. The actor who played Namor in that Wakanda Forever movie, his name is Tenok. Tenok
Yeah,
Huerta.
exactly. I remember seeing that and I was like, damn, hopefully they don't think that we copy, and blah, blah, blah. But, he was named after a real person. And I actually learned a lot when Daniel presented this character to me. I always loved the Aztec culture, but I didn't know it as deep as this story took me to. I didn't know about the other gods and the other things that took place. So I feel like this story is outstanding for Concrete, and I feel like if you notice what's going on with the gods of Concrete, they're all awakening at the same
Yeah,
time. They're
right.
realizing things. So that in itself may be a future and event, wink, wink, that y'all may not be seeing coming. But
All
the
right.
gods are waking up, and I would love to see a crossover with Tenok and Kendaki. So I feel like they're waking up to a similar thought process of what the heck is this? What happened to my people?
Right.
What happened to my world? And how can I fix this? And so the
Historically
thing that
speaking,
they're struggling with.
what happened to his world, what happened to Kandaki's world has a common factor, which I'm not going to get into. But
Very common factor.
y'all can
Very,
open up a history book and see for
yeah.
yourselves.
But
Uh,
yeah,
the,
a very common factor. And on the entertainment side, Daniel wanted to create a Thor for his people.
right.
He wanted to create a Thor for the Latin community. So this is why he created Tenok, and he wanted to create a Thor for Concrete Universe. So he's basically going to be like our Thor.
Yeah, he's the god of fire, right?
Yeah.
So what are his abilities?
Super strength, super speed, durability. He can control fire almost a planetary level almost. And he goes up against some of the biggest and the baddest gods that there is. So he's kind of like he's like Thor mixed with Kratos
Mhm.
in a sense. Not only that, he's not going to give up. He's not somebody that's just going to retreat. Like he'll go down dying trying to take you out, and that's what makes him really dangerous. And he's fighting for a purpose. He's fighting for his people.
One of the things that I found really interesting is with Kandaki and with Tenok, you mentioned they're waking up to this world. The world's changed. They're trying to figure out why is the world changed the way it has. And you have this premise that generally gods get their powers from worshipers, right? From being worshipped by
Mm-hmm.
their followers. That's how they gain their strength. If their followers don't worship them any longer, their powers diminish. So what then happens when the gods want to have their powers back? Right? They awaken in this world. They see things going sideways, and they want to get their powers and their station on Earth back. What then do they have to do? To me, that
Yeah,
seems like kind of the storyline that's being told in Tenok specifically.
yeah. How do you inspire the people that have lost their faith?
Right.
And that's a challenge because just imagine, if Tenok came back, or just imagine if Kendaki came back in our reality. She saw all these, girls on IG and stuff twerking and all this other stuff going on.
Right.
She was like, "What in the world happened to my people?" And would our people be willing to stop all that and follow? You know, that's a challenge. It's a real challenge, and I feel like Tanakh, Kandaki, those need to be adapted into films for sure.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. Well, speaking of films, I mean, you guys have the MCU's Namor in this book. You have Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Namor in the MCU in the Wakanda Forever was based on the Mesoamerican god Quetzalcoatl, or the feathered serpent god
Hmm.
Quetzalcoatl. And here he is in Tenach, this older gentleman who's here.
Yep,
Um,
he's in
so
there.
this particular scene in this book really has a lot of American gods vibe to it, because you've got
Yeah,
these old gods talking to each other in this modern vernacular, saying, "Yeah, back in the day, we used to run this place, man. I mean, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
these people used to worship us, and now I'm sitting here drinking a beer, watching the Tonight Show.
yeah,
It's just, I
yeah.
thought I thought it was kind of dope.
Yeah, it's dope, man, to see how how Daniel's telling the story is masterful. It
Yeah,
really he's a master at making his characters feel grounded, relatable, but also very extreme in the fantasy world. You know what I'm saying? He's a brilliant writer. He's only 22 years old, man. So
wow,
I'm blown away by it. His skill is what landed him the position of editor in chief of Konkret Comics. And he actually just launched his own publishing company too, that's based on strictly horror comics. So I'm very excited to see uh, what he's gonna do over there, and you might even see me publish something over there. So yeah.
wow. Well, make sure you convey to us how impressed we are with his writing. Moving
Okay.
on, let's go to the final character we want to talk about, Watchmen.
Tevin
I mean,
Fields.
many of your other characters, aliens and gods and godlike demigod warriors. This is the most uh, grounded of all the characters that you have. The sort of the street level crime superhero, which is traditional in the comic book sense.
Hmm.
Written and created by Lyle Ringgold, art again by Leandro Menezes. Um, this what also makes this interesting. This title character Tevin Fields, he inherits this mantle of being this urban vigilante from his father.
Hmm.
Um, what's not specified is if, well, I don't believe he has superheroes powers, so to speak. It's more of training. Is that correct?
Nah, he was actually because of his father, it passed into his genetics. His
Okay,
father his father was injected and got super soldier serum, and then it showed up in him as well.
so he
And
is
he
enhanced.
he didn't know that at first, you know. So yeah, he's enhanced. He would be basically like Captain America's level.
So strength, speed, stamina, that type of thing.
Yep, peak.
Okay.
Yeah, everything at peak human and a little bit above.
One of
Plus,
the
he
Go
he
ahead.
has he has military training as well.
Right, he was in the Air Force for like 8 years.
Yep.
Right. Um, in terms of his background, one of the things that you mentioned, I told you I was going to mention this again later on. One of the things that you said was important to you was sort of making characters that weren't stereotypical. You wanted to see the character that had a mother and a father and grew up in a regular household, or people that had jobs that were notable rather than just sort
Yeah.
of regular everyday sort of backgrounds. Like, how are you going to be a superhero with all these powers and abilities and exceptional nature and just be a regular, be
Yeah.
struggling for money, you know?
Struggling for money, man.
So there's you want to break away from doing these sort of tropes that we normally see in comics. But with Tevin Fields, he's like one of the few characters where you have sort of the danger
Yeah.
of falling into that trope, because, not to do a spoiler, but he has a troubled background.
Right.
So how is it that Concrete deals with toting that fine line between falling into a trope but also making the character interesting?
Well, we want to tell stories that you can see yourself in. A lot of people can see themselves as Tevin. A lot of people have experienced this lifestyle. Even if they did have both parents, the streets can still get you. You know, gang violence, gangs can still get you. You can still be influenced by the wrong people. Even if you can have the best life at home. Once you step outside of those doors, if your morality ain't right, somebody can get you. And I think that's the real important lesson in Watchmen is seeing how he copes with what what he has to deal with. He didn't know his father most of his life. When he finally get to meet him a little bit and they get to spend time together, he gets taken from him. So now he's dealing with anger. He's dealing with all these other things that he don't know how to deal with. On top of that, he has powers. So how do you cope with these things? And I think that's great what we showed in the first issue of Watchmen. I mean, I
Will,
really enjoyed it.
will future issues explore his more of his background and relationships?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Issue two taps into what you see at the end of issue one, and you discover a little more about his history, his family history, and in the midst of that, you get to see what some of the threats are that's coming to this city that he lives in.
Has his main antagonist been revealed yet, or will it be revealed soon?
It hasn't been revealed yet, but you see someone connected to him.
What can we expect in his future for this comic book?
Oh, it's some twists and turns in this one. You might even see a little future jumping. I'll just put that out there. You
Okay.
know, he's probably one of our most one of the characters you'll see bounce around a lot. You may see him with some random team ups like him and Absolver or him and Acolyte. He would be that kind of guy that we would throw in there, kind of like a a Static Shock Spider-Man type of hybrid. You know, he needs some guidance right now, so
Yeah.
he gonna fall on somebody.
Would what can we expect? You said that there's two issues out.
Yep,
So,
there's two issues. Issue three is on the way right now, and we're also working on spin-offs of the series because in issue two you get to meet a lot of people that are connected to the Watchmen and this super soldier thing that's been going around, which are I'll drop this exclusive, but we have a big super soldier type of umbrella in the Concrete universe. You see one of them in Acolyte store. You see somebody in Watchmen. You see one of them in Absolver, but there's a big umbrella. The government is playing a major part in a lot of what's going on in the streets, and you start seeing that unfold within our stories. So our stories from the ground up, we're trying to tap into every section of reality, from the organic Chrissy dealing with the foods and dealing with just natural neighborhood things, from Watchmen dealing with the gangs and the crime and organizations that are coming to poison our people, to Acolyte dealing with major weapons designers for the military and people like that. So when you really look at our stories, you see that the government is really at play
hmm.
a lot.
So that would be a Black Comic Lords exclusive.
There it is.
Is this one of the books that you said that had, was nominated for an award?
Yeah, yeah. Watchmen won a Glyph award.
That's
I
what's
think it
up.
was I think it was the best. I forget which column it won, but I think it was for the best digital imprint, so something like that.
Well, I mean that's all the books that I reviewed. I want you to let us know what are any other books that you have coming, and what is the future of Concrete.
So we have, well, as you see all them titles, I can name out the people that are new. See from the left side, you got you got Deja Vu. He's the guy right behind Tinnock. Hold on one second. I just gotta grab my charger. See that little light on my computer show up. But yeah, so if we start from the left, you got Base Force. He's the guy with the green hands in the left corner.
Now,
Um,
Base Force just joined Concrete because I think we
yeah,
interacted on Twitter.
yep. He just
And he and
joined.
Big,
He's dope. I'm really excited about that book that's coming. His book is done too, so it's gonna be
hey, shout out to
reprinted.
Chillmonger who's in the chat. What's up, brother?
Chillmonger, what up, man? And then you got Luna, the lady in pink. Her Kickstarter finished in January. Her book is out. She's making a lot of moves. And the writer behind Luna, Carla, she's our first female creator of Konkret Comics, and she's trailblazing right now. She's definitely trailblazing. And underneath her, you got Deja Vu, written by my man Jairi. That's finishing on Kickstarter tomorrow. So shout out to Deja Vu. And the fun fact is Deja Vu and the Watchmen are in the same city as well.
Okay.
Luna is on oh yeah. Luna, she's in a different she's one of the characters I said that's in a future a future timeline of our universe. So her story is really dope. Um, and then you got Zoriel, the girl with the pink wings. That's a creation of mine. She's coming out this year as well. She's a demon hunter, but she deals with everything supernatural, from Mothman to Freddy Krueger type of individuals. All the above. She deals with that.
So she's like the concrete version of Blade versus Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There, she's
exactly Blade mixed with Constantine.
Right.
Exactly, and she's up there in strength too. So she's definitely one of my favorites. You got Organic Chrissy. Next to her, you got Sith Row. You actually see his first appearance in Acolyte number 4 or number 3, and then he makes a big appearance in issue 4.
That's the dude in black with the guns?
No, the dude right underneath him. His name is Sith Row.
Okay.
And then the dude with the gorilla mask, his name is Primate. He's one of our newest titles as well. He's actually going to be, we're going to do the Acolyte Kickstarter next, and then Primate is going to be the Kickstarter after that. And then the dude below him in the orange next to Acolyte, that is Yesterfate. That book is dropping this year as well. So yeah, there's a lot of titles. It's a lot of titles. And if you love historical events, Yesterfate's going to be one of your favorites.
Concrete is poised to take over, man. Look, mad shout out to all your creators. You guys are doing really great work over there at Concrete. I was really thoroughly impressed, man. I really am. To all of these people that are constantly, because we see it all the time in our space, complaining about there not being enough original Black characters of substance, particularly those that are done by Black creators. Here you go. Yeah. Here you go. Don't talk about it. Be about it. Support Konkret Comics. I think we've got their page and the link. It's in the chat. It's going to be in the description of this video. Go out and support these brothers and sisters that are doing this really great work. I mean, this is the stuff that it's all about. You know, these are the characters that are of tomorrow, and they're putting in the work. And they've got, and moreover, they're doing comics of substance with a message, a message that's directly attributable to us. You got to support that. You got to support that. Lonzo, I really appreciate you spending time with us.
Oh, no, I appreciate you having me on, man, and allowing us to talk about the Konkret universe. It's platforms like this that really help us grow and help us get connected with people that may not know that we exist. Because, same as me a couple of years ago, I didn't know this community existed. I didn't know there was Black comic creator communities. Now that I know, it's changed my life, and I want to change other people's lives with all of my partners and fellow creators. But just creating one of the biggest and largest Black-owned publishers in the world, and that's my goal is to really bring out some of the greatest stories ever told by people of color.
Right, right. Well, brother, you are now every time we have someone come on and we do an interview, you're now part of the Black Comic Lords family. You're officially Black Comic Lord. So what we
It
like
is.
you to do is to say your name and then say I'm a Black Comic Lord.
My name is Lonzo Starr, and I am a Black comic lord. You dig?
That's what's up. Appreciate you, man. Um, Thank you for being here. And look, your other creators for these other books, if they
Yeah.
have stuff that's coming out and they want to talk about it, please, I want you to share and extend our invitation for them to come on the show and talk about the books, man, and share it with the family. Let us know what's up.
Oh yeah, for sure. I already got a couple texts from a few of them, man. All of them are big fans of this community. Black Comic Lords is doing it big, man, and I'm just thrilled to have had the chance to talk to this community.
Oh man, it's the thrill is completely ours, man. I mean, we're here for you. We're here for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, and most definitely we are in diamond distribution now, so we will be hitting the previews very soon. So at your local comic shops, you'll be able to just walk in and grab some Concrete Comics. And even if y'all want that personal experience, you can always order it straight from us and get it right to your house as well.
No,
So
thank you for reminding me about that. And I think that's one of the things that we often hear comments about. People say, "Well, I don't want to go to a website. I like being able to order from my LCS or order it from Previews Magazine or what have you." They're going through Diamond now, so I think you've got some pre-orders coming up from, was it May, Lonzo?
oh yeah, yeah, pre-orders. We're looking to so as another Black Comic Lords exclusive, we have I have redone Acolyte #1.
Okay,
All new artwork, new colors, new letters, new cover design, and we're dropping that one fresh, just like it's brand new. So this issue 1 now is going to be a collector's item for sure because it'll never be printed again once we go to Diamond. So
so the issue
yeah,
I got 2 years ago is going to be a collector's item.
oh for sure,
Oh,
for sure.
that's dope.
I'm
That's
gonna
wonderful.
frame it, man. Put it in the case, and yeah, because after that, I even added new pages into this issue 1, so it's almost like a new book.
Right.
Um, that I really, I dive in a little bit deeper into what I've done as well. So we're gonna start off with Acolyte, followed by Odina and Absolver, and we're just gonna go down the list. Our
Chillmonger
goal.
has a question for you. He says, "I'm more likely to go through an LCS. Do you get less of a cut by having people go through an LCS to buy your books?"
Um, we do get less of a cut because we got to break down the percentages with Diamond and all this other stuff like that. We make the most profit when you run into us at a con or you order it straight from us. Us going to Diamond is so that we can reach the world. If we could, we would have just kept it straight from the muscle, straight from us. But we have goals to really reach the masses and people that don't get to see us on Facebook or don't get to run into us at a con. So how can we be everywhere? And that was one of the best options. And we're just glad that Diamond believed in us and they wanted us a part of their coalition.
Yeah, I think you're going to make your money up on the back end by doing it this way. And our producer, Dr. Wizard, is pointing out that I don't want to be remiss and point out your website. Um, the fact that you've got these books, man, that's a dope picture. Scroll back to that. That's a dope picture, man. That let me tell you, one of the pieces of merch that you need to do, bro, is like
Oh yeah,
print print
I,
print this picture right here.
I plan on putting that picture on a shirt.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
This needs to be on a t-shirt. This is dope.
Oh
But yeah,
yeah,
check out their website. They got mad merch. Check out my man's t-shirt and hat from Acolyte that he has on.
yes,
And you got a
yes.
statue.
Got a statue too, man.
Show the
You know,
statue, man. I need to get that
y'all
statue.
see it. Y'all see him. Yep. Got the statue right there.
Really well done. You said you got one for Odina coming out too, right?
Yeah, we're working on that. Odina one is next, and then Absolver, and then I think Watchmen after that. So pretty soon they're all going to be available, man. And I think I'm going to do it the way that I used to collect my old action figures. So each of our heroes is going to have like their own series. So I think for him it's going to be Acolyte, it's going to be Kalon, Abner, and his villain. It's going to
Right.
be. So I'm gonna try to get all those statues done. So yeah, be on the lookout for us to really have a big statue line, really big statue line.
Wow. Damn. Imagine I'm gonna have a shelf just of concrete superheroes on it. Man, that's gonna be what's up.
Concrete heroes, man. We I believe if I'm not gonna be at Awesome Con, I believe the creator of Luna is gonna be there in Yesterfate. They're both around the DC area. Um,
Do you have anyone
I
coming to MechaCon in Orlando?
MechaCon Orlando. We do. The creator of Absolver, he's out there. So I don't remember what that date is, but I'll definitely check that one out. We
I think it's this week. That's why I asked.
this week.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
this
this
week
week.
I'm gonna be at Towson Con for the people that run the Glyph Awards. They have a con. I'm doing a panel there as well. I'll be there. That's in Maryland. That's in Towson. It's called Towson, Maryland, at Towson University. Oh, somebody asked about the shoes. Hold on. Let me grab the shoes right here. Take one of them things.
Bro, are those concrete sneakers?
They are, man. Concrete sneakers.
You got sneakers?
Yep. They even got the K on the inside, man. I don't know if y'all can see that, but yeah, they got the K on the inside. Yep.
Y'all got some concrete Chuck Taylor type sneakers. Are you kidding me?
Got the Chucks. We have some Watchmen versions of these, and we have some Tinnock versions as well.
Oh, that's what's up.
So yeah. We got hats, we got hoodies.
What is this?
Oh yeah, so this right here, this was an animated trailer that I did for the book. I worked with a dope animator named Jazzle, and pretty soon you're gonna see me launching, maybe a Kickstarter or GoFundMe to fully fund an animated movie for Acolyte, based in this style right here.
Yeah, kind of an anime style. That's what's up.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Big things going on with Konkret Comics.
Yeah.
Don't be a fan later.
Yeah. Nah, man. Tap in with us for sure. Concrete is growing every day. Every week we're growing. We got new stuff dropping. And if anybody listening wants to make their own comic book or wants to be a creator, definitely join our Patreon. I'm going to be doing master classes. I do mentorship, and I also do consulting. So if you're looking to get in the business and make a comic yourself or just make a character, definitely join our Patreon, man. We do something called World Building Wednesdays, where every second Wednesday you get to sit with me and the creators of Concrete, and we kind of build something in the Concrete universe. Our last one we did, we built three supermax prisons for supervillains in Concrete. I mean, it was fun. Our fans were throwing out some crazy names out there, man, but it was definitely dope. So definitely, join us for. At the lowest tier, you get access to all of our digital comic books, our whole digital library. You get to read that for free whenever you want. You also get access to our private Discord channel where we be having watch parties in there. We're watching Wakanda Forever, I think, on Saturday. So yeah, it's a real lively thing, man. Definitely check us out. Patreon, come support Concrete. If y'all want to see us keep creating and keep making what we're making, sign up for our Patreon. Definitely sign up.
All right. Well, again, Lonzo, thank you very much for spending time with us. On behalf of the Black Comic Lords, it's been a pleasure having you. And we look forward to having you and the other creators of Concrete back in our space sometime soon.
No, I appreciate you, man.
For all of you out there, I hope you've enjoyed this Black Comic Creator series that we've been working on. We've got more coming. It's a lot of work. Be patient if there's some time between these. Quite frankly, we've been cranking them out back to back, and the brother's tired. Right? But our regular lives that we've got, or even semi-regular, Wakanda Whiskey and Blurredom on Fridays, where me and my boy Mark have our happy hour, have some drinks, and just talk mess about comics and whatever comes across our alcohol-infused whiskey minds. Real Talk with Rich, Sunday nights for deep dives and deep thoughts with our OG of the group, King Richard the Panther Hearted. And then every month we've got our Black Comic Lord ladies do their lives, real deep cuts, real deep dives, great discussion with these ladies, very knowledgeable about these characters. They did one just yesterday on Nubia, where they interviewed Stephanie Williams, the writer on the Nubia book. If you hadn't had a chance to see it, go to our YouTube channel, check it out. Please like the video, share the video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's what helps you to keep track of what we're doing, and it really helps us out numbers wise. All the stuff's for free, so help us out. It costs you nothing. Until next time, we appreciate each and every one of you. Peace. Lonzo, take care.
Sure.
See y'all
Thanks for having me, bro.
My pleasure. Our pleasure. Dr. Wizard.